it downfield. It is. Oh, it's caught. John Moran in the clutch. Oh, my word. Oh, my God. Deep to right field. Way up there. And way down the sideline. Jefferson. Another huge run. Jalen Red broke tackle. Stayed on his feet.
What's happening, everybody? Blake Neiman at you with some more local and national sports as we kick off today with some big veteran names in free agency getting deals done. Starting off in the QB situation in Philadelphia, where young QB Jalen Hurts is going to get some competition from a well-rounded veteran in Joe Flacco, as Flacco is receiving a one-year deal with $3.5 million guaranteed and the opportunity to earn $4 million more in incentives from the Philadelphia Eagles. With 175 career starts, Flacco can be a veteran resource for Hurts, the Eagles' second-round pick last April, while also pushing him. We've always tried to have value at that position and have depth at the position. I don't see any way in changing that as we go forward, General Manager Howie Roseman said last week. We want to have a real strong quarterback room. We feel like we have an incredible coaches on the offensive side of the ball and the defensive side of the ball to maximize who can play quarterback. Flacco appeared in 5 games for the New York Jets last season and went 0-4 as a starter, replacing the injured Sam Darnold, who had a shoulder injury in October and November. His numbers were mediocre at average with an 80.6 passer rating and a 55.2% completion rate, but he was responsible for the team's best passing day of the season. Flacco admitted his goal was to again become a full-time starter, saying, "I think I'd be lying if I were to deny that. I want to play quarterback in this league. I think I have a lot left." I think this is a solid move for the Eagles, being able to get a decent veteran for low salary cap space that can push and give advice to that potential franchise quarterback in Jalen Hurts. Does this move change the draft for the Eagles? Not necessarily. I feel as though the Eagles, even before the draft, were willing to not acquire a quarterback or acquire a quarterback. I think they're just going to take the best man on the board. But it is likely that they are going to keep and try and get a receiver/blocker type now to get a weapon for Hurts and even Flacco if he comes in. I'm thinking more like a Kyle Pitts type to help with both the run game and the pass game, because that's what they need in Philadelphia right now. But I think this is a great move for them. I think they got a really good deal for Joe Flacco to help push Jalen Hurts. And I think if Jalen Hurts goes down, the backup in Joe Flacco, the Eagles organization, isn't going to be ruined for the season because of it. So I think this is a great pickup. And I think now going forward into the draft, the Eagles can just get the best man on the board, quarterback or not. Now onto a former Eagles QB new team in Carson Wentz getting an elite target to remain in Indy, as wide receiver T.Y. Hilton is returning to the Indianapolis Colts on a one-year deal worth $10 million, including $8 million guaranteed. Hilton has spent the majority of his 9 NFL seasons as the number 1 receiver target for the Colts, but he's got off to the worst start of his career in 2020 as he saw a reduced role in the offense, with just catching 29 passes in the first 10 games of the season. However, in the final 6 games of the regular season, he had 27 receptions, finishing with 762 receiving yards and 5 touchdowns, as well as a wild card berth for the Colts. Injuries have been a large factor for Hilton, of course, over the course of his career, over the past 3 seasons, as he has missed 9 games over that span. The 4-time Pro Bowler has 608 career receptions for 9,360 yards and 50 touchdowns with the team. So we will see how Hilton and Wentz will kick it off at Indy, and if both of them will get a jump boost in their career. I think this is a great keep, obviously, for the Colts. And I think T.Y. Hilton still has a lot left to give for the Colts organization. And I'm not sure why they reduced his role last year. I mean, obviously, their run game was doing incredible. But I think in trying to develop a quarterback like Carson Wentz, Phillip Rivers was pretty old at the time. And now Carson Wentz is still fairly young, so I think he has a lot left in as far as arm capacity. So I think they can definitely use T.Y. Hilton to their advantage this upcoming season. And in the 2021 offseason, we can't have a free agency segment this offseason especially without talking about more Patriots signings. As the veteran running back James White has agreed to a one-year deal with the Pats with $2.5 million fully guaranteed. White is a 3-time Super Bowl champ who has been solidified in history after his signature performance in Super Bowl LI victory over the Atlanta Falcons in that comeback, where he had 14 catches and scored 3 touchdowns including that game winner in overtime, the first and only overtime in Super Bowl history. He has been a top passing back since entering the league in 2014, as he has totaled 49 receptions in 2020, which was second highest on the team, running back or receiver. He is a key leader and veteran for the Patriots running core that is continuing to develop and evolve in this league, and I think he is going to once again help the team out in as far as catching the ball as well as running the ball. He's a great keep there, and he is a great veteran that knows the offense, and he knows what it takes to be a New England Patriot. So this is a great keep for the Patriots, and I think this James White fully agrees as well. As far as NBA, we have some potential last games for veteran players with their respective teams, as the NBA trade deadline is on and players are on the trade block. Starting off with one of the biggest names in free agency in Kyle Lowry and the Toronto Raptors, taking on the recovering Denver Nuggets after the emotional bullet from the Boulder shootings that we have heard about oh so recently. I am originally from Boulder and even shopped at the King Supers where the shooting occurred, so I was devastated when I found out the news. My prayers go out to all those involved and affected by this devastating tragedy. This is unfortunate, but we are going to have to go on to the game where Pascal Siakam went off for 16 points in the first quarter, pushing the Raptors en route to a 38-point performance in the first quarter, which is the most points that Denver has allowed this season. In the second quarter, the Raptors kept the momentum going as OG Anunoby went 4 for 4 from beyond the arc and capping off his 18-point performance, and the Raptors' second highest scoring half this season with 72 points, pushing them to take an 18-point lead at the break. The Raptors then continued their lights out beyond the arc shooting in the second half with big shots from Fred VanVleet, Kyle Lowry, and many others as they set a franchise record 24 made three-pointers as Kyle Lowry helps his Raptors dominate in his potential last game with the team this season. It was a great heck of a last game for the Toronto Raptors, and if Kyle Lowry shall leave, he says so be it. On to another free agency favorite in Aaron Gordon and the Orlando Magic taking on the Phoenix Suns in a close, hard-fought matchup. It was a close back-and-forth shootout in this one as both teams had a response to each other's momentums through each of the first 3 quarters. However, the Suns did have a good push before the fourth quarter to get a little cushion with a 5-point lead going into the fourth. Nevertheless, Vucevic led the Magic in their battle back in the fourth quarter, turning the tables on the Suns with a fadeaway jumper to put the Magic up 5 with just under 3 minutes to go. But the Suns battled back and Devin Booker dished it out to Jay Crowder, who hit the clutch 3 to tie things up 109 apiece with just under 40 seconds to go. After a pair of free throws, the Magic were now down by 1 with under 10 seconds remaining to go until Evan Fournier drove to the basket and laid it in for the clutch basket that sealed the deal for the Magic in this one. Down to the wire game, clutch win for the Magic, who come out victorious despite having an opposite record of the Suns as they continue to try and push forward in the looming trade of Aaron Gordon and potential others. Now onto a game with no trade deadline players being active, but many stars were absent in this one in what was supposed to be a very exciting matchup between the Utah Jazz and the Brooklyn Nets. The Nets were entirely without the big 3 for the first time this season, which made it a rough start for the Nets, who got outscored by Donovan Mitchell and Mike Conley alone in the first quarter. But it didn't get any better from there for the Nets, as Spida Donovan Mitchell continued his impressive 22-point first half performance, helping put the Jazz up 25 at the break. Brooklyn would never be able to recover or even rally back for that matter, as the Jazz kept dominating on their home floor, getting the huge 118-88 victory over the Nets, who are obviously now proven nothing without James Harden, Kyrie Irving, and or Kevin Durant. They at least need one of them to carry that burden against the elite team like the Utah Jazz. As far as MLB, a big deal and huge hold for the Houston Astros has happened as right-hander Lance McCullers Jr. agrees upon a 5-year, $85 million contract extension. McCullers is coming off a solid 2020 where he went 3 for 3 with a 3.93 ERA and 56 strikeouts in 11 starts. Houston is where I want to be. This is my home. This is where I see myself, he said last month. I would undoubtedly want to be here well into the future. I think the real question would be, do the Astros see me here? Do the Astros see me as a part of their future? If the Astros see me as a part of their future, as a big part of their future, then I would love to stay here if it makes sense for everyone. Overall, McCullers is 32-25 with a 3.70 ERA and 5 seasons with the Astros, including an all-star campaign that he had in 2017. The signing is now going to be key for the Astros as they are now without Justin Verlander due to Tommy John surgery. So McCullers will most likely have to step up into the starter role he was previously in his career, at least while Verlander is recovering. He's now here long term. This is awesome that McCullers to stay there. The organization and him both wanted to stay, and everyone's happy there. And he's going to be a huge part of the Astros rotation this year as Verlander is out. As far as local sports, the Willamette girls soccer team got the 2-0 victory over the Sisters Outlaws, with senior Olivia Pittman scoring both of the team's goals in the second half. It was a tight, physical first half with both teams playing a phenomenal defense to hold each other scoreless until 15 minutes into the second half, where Pittman finally got the Warriors on the scoreboard after a steal that set up a solid shot from the outside for the goal. Pittman then pulled the life from the Sisters' defense as she finessed her way through the defenders en route to her second goal shot that sealed the deal for the Warriors in this one. Great win for the Warriors, who now extend their winning streak to 5 games as they continue to dominate in the Oregon West Conference, and they are looking as a state championship caliber team if there is a state championship this year. Solid win for the Warriors, and that Olivia Pittman girl, she is not something you want to mess with. So thank you for tuning in to another episode of Blake's Take. I appreciate all the support on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and or YouTube. If you could hit that subscribe button and that like button, I would appreciate that. Hope you enjoyed all the NFL free agency news. Lots of big names and veterans moving around. Hope you enjoyed those little potential last games where some players and potential star players with their former teams. We'll see what happens in the NBA trade deadline tomorrow. I'll be definitely here to tune into that. Hope you all enjoyed, and I will catch you all in the next one.